From there I get this shot of a little girl passing, I assume with her mother and older sister. I don't recall taking the shot or why she caught my eye. Perhaps it was the pattern of cloth she shares with her sister. It's not an especially good shot. No significant information stands out from it, yet I find myself circling back to this footage. It's a brief shot, a little over 11 seconds long, but it contains almost the entire course of our ephemeral interaction. I spot her, start the camera. She sees me, looks away.
Why prophets and philosophers together in the same piece? What
Ρωτάει,
means?
ξέρετε, για ποιο λόγο ήταν μαζί οι φιλόσοφοι μαζί με τους...
Γιατί υπάρχουν οι προφήτες που μίλησαν καθαρά για τον Χριστό, αλλά και οι φιλόσοφοι δεν είπαν ναι μεν θα έρθει ο Μεσσίας, δηλαδή θα έρθει ο Χριστός, αλλά είπαν θα έρθει κάποιο έτσι ανώτερο πρόσωπο, κάτι έτσι πολύ σοφός, κάτι, δηλαδή το αφήσαν να εννοηθεί ότι
He said that they used to believe that because they put also the prophets actually said that Jesus will arrive. At a certain point, but he said the Greek philosophers, even though they...
A hollow space, a church, I guess.
The sounds echo, shoes creaking on the floor. I hear words that resemble the words prophets, philosophy. A man explains something in a language I don't know, but that I've become a bit familiar with.
She asks about philosophers and prophets. The tone, as always, brings it with a slight sense of indignation, as if somehow philosophers and prophets have no business being in each other's company, and her worldview is disturbed. But maybe this is just a tone particular to the Norwegian language.
Damianos translates. I recognize his voice. He says, that's why they put it there. I wonder if they're talking about a specific object.
Damianos gets it. Ah, what one Greek and another Greek know is not the same. Then a shrill sound, probably a bird, it keeps returning.
I first noticed the daylight. The space is bright.
A museum, that's for sure. The situation I see is a bit tense, it seems. But then again, Damianos looks very summer-like. Italian, with his sunglasses on his head. My attention first goes to their talking and the serious expressions on their faces.
Damianos explains something, moves his hand in front of his chest vividly, and the girl looks at him. Her mouth is half open, interested. She seems a bit puzzled too, and she's playing with her pen. I realize I had expected that Damianos would have been the one filming, but he's in the frame, so there must be another person with them.
But then soon the camera reveals the interest of the filmmaker, and I become aware there's a filmmaker here.
I remember being exhausted, like very tired. And there was just like, it was a constant filming. I think we were in there for like, I don't know, 40 minutes or something. And so there was the choices to be making of what needed to be captured. So there was kind of like quite a lot of, it was interesting, really interesting to hear the stories of how those textiles came to be there and how they were made. I remember that the monastery guy didn't really want to be there. He didn't want a camera there. He didn't want to be on camera. So it was trying to honor that aspect to it, because he'd said that he didn't want his face to be on camera. So that also made it difficult to film. There's only so much you can say as well, I think, about, I don't know, it was just facts. It was, you were translating facts. There wasn't like a discussion to be had as such there. I think maybe there was at other points, there was kind of a bit more, oh, that's interesting because of that, but it was more like this was sown in this time because, and by these people because of this reason. Like it wasn't like an exchange of information. It was a lecture. I remember it being very hot and gorgeous and sunny outside, but inside it felt quite institutional because it had strip lighting and it was much cooler. I remember feeling frustrated to be there, to be honest, because I wanted to be working on my own project.
I didn't really seek for this encounter to happen. I was invited to it as a facilitator, as a translator between a Greek guide in the museum and the Palestinian Norwegian artist. I was there because I had to. I must admit that I could not recollect the counter before watching the clip. You talked about prophets and philosophers, about saints. I was translating what the guy was telling to Isra. Between whom is this encounter really taking place? Between me and the Greek guide? Between Isra and the Greek guide? Or between me and Isra? What about Emma? You cannot see her, but she was there. She's a camera. You can actually see what she sees. You can actually see what she chooses you to see. I haven't really thought of how she affects the whole thing, how her perspective changes the whole encounter, or how she would be responsible, how I would recollect the encounter a few years later. I was trying to recollect the encounter before watching it. I couldn't. The whole encounter just came to my head as a flashback of a second. Instead, I could recollect the moments around the encounter. The summer, the island, the warmth, how much I wanted to be on the beach at that moment, but not the actual encounter. But who was really the protagonist of this encounter? Was it me? No, I don't think so. Maybe Isra and the Greek guide. Or was it actually Emma, the camera? Maybe the clip is just a representation of various encounters. Maybe the encounter I'm actually watching is the encounter of a camera with that of many other encounters. This is how Emma was confronting her reality, which included me communicating with Isra and the Greek guide. Does this really make sense?
why prophets and philosophers together in the same piece? What that
Ρωτάει,
means?
ξέρετε, για ποιο λόγο ήταν μαζί οι φιλόσοφοι μαζί με τους...
Γιατί υπάρχουν οι προφήτες που μίλησαν καθαρά για τον Χριστό, αλλά και οι φιλόσοφοι δεν είπαν ναι μεν θα έρθει ο Μεσσίας, δηλαδή θα έρθει ο Χριστός, αλλά είπαν θα έρθει κάποιο έτσι ανώτερο πρόσωπο, κάτι έτσι πολύ σοφός, κάτι, δηλαδή το αφήσαν να εννοηθεί ότι...
He said that they used to believe that, because they put also the prophets actually said that Jesus will arrive at a certain point, but he said the Greek philosophers, even though they didn't explicitly spoke about the arrival of Jesus, they said that one day a special force would come to earth to change the situation. So it was kind of indirect prophecy about Jesus. That's why they put them there.
You mean at the philosophers, I'm not sure if I got it. The philosophers also thought it will come.
Yeah, they prophet that somebody will come.
Yeah,
a special.
The prophets, but the philosophers.
Also the philosophers. Not the philosophers did not explicitly spoken about Jesus, but they spoke about a force.
Yeah.
About something that will change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.